to Friday. It's 4 and the 40th time. Spiritline.
Can you believe we've done 40 of these?
I really can't. It is insane that we are up to number 40. How?
What have we found to talk about for over 40 hours?
Yes. That's a really, really good point. That really is a good point. How have we managed to keep talking for over? I mean, sometimes it's an hour and a half, so it's got to be probably getting close to 50, 60 hours.
Oh no, I don't understand. But there we are, and people still tune in to listen to us talking.
I know. Careful now. Christmas is coming. It will go in the blooper reel.
It will. Talking rubbish for 40 hours plus.
Absolutely. So, my friend, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Not much. I've been recovering from a cold, as you can hear. I'm probably sounding a little bit nasally at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm fine. Went out with a friend yesterday to a wool and knitting and stitching show at Harrogate Convention Centre, which was lovely. It was really nice. Really nice.
And of course, on Monday, it was kind of stand in for some bloke who disappeared.
It did.
On SPTV. Thank you for that. It was fun while it lasted.
It was
for all of 15 minutes. But no, it was great, and I did obviously go back on catch up. So that was great, and I'm sure we will see much more of you.
Let's hope so.
Over time. SPTV magician you became. Yeah. Is that you or me? You did the boom, here I am, or was it me doing the disappearing act?
New style of glitching in the Matrix.
Yes. So the truth is, it's only on the Fridays that we can appear in the same room together through the magic of technology. If we try it, it gives away that we have this spiritual connection that we jump from body to body kind of thing, and I like that glitch in the Matrix. We reveal the glitch in the Matrix being in the same room. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you started glitching.
Yes, I was. The internet was awful on Monday. I've never ever seen it that bad. And then obviously other things occurred. But yes, so it was an interesting day, but it was good to be with you at both ends of the week.
Yes. It feels lovely to have begun and now ending the week.
Yes, so everyone can go off and enjoy their weekendy.
Yes.
But there we go. So I hope you have enjoyed yourself, and that you will be, of course, back so I can properly give you a good grilling.
Yeah. Although Karen did do a really good job of grilling me.
She did.
Yes, it was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the conversation's already beginning, so wonderful. For everyone who's tuning in for the first time or infrequently to this, our 40th Spiritline. This is your show, so do steer the conversation. You are in charge of what we talk about, so you ask the questions. And, please share and let people know that we're here. Because that's how we spread the word, really.
We do.
But it is, of course, down to you to tell us what you want to talk about today. But again, happy anniversary. I was just thinking, whose anniversary is it? It's our 40th. Yeah. So yes, it is brilliant. So shall we say hello?
We should, yes. We should go back to the top
few
of the
peeps.
comments.
Back up to the top with the lovely Christine Davis.
Yep, and then we were joined by Mama Brown.
Hello, Mama
Hello,
Brown.
Linda.
And John Parry, good afternoon to yourself.
And Eunice. Hi, Eunice. And I'm guessing Tony as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mum said she can never get enough. And then, of course, in came Regan, all the way from the other side of the planet. So we can't say good evening to Regan because it's probably the middle of the night or the morning. Regan, what time is it with you? We'd be interested to know.
Yeah, and then Trace. Hi, Trace. Nice to see you.
Nice. And then over to Sue Parry. Now, don't know who.
No, but hello and great that you're here for 45 minutes, but hope hubby's okay.
Yes, let us know who you are, because it's not late. There is, I tell you what, let me get it. Let me see if it's, I will put the link up. Oh no, here it is. There we go. I'll leave that there. I'll just leave that there. Where were we? Okay, so yes, then Regan came in and said he could have made it a little bit more dramatic, like the cat drinking frozen water frozen in time. That would have been fun. If I could have done it, I would.
Yeah, that would have been good. And hi, Francis. Nice to see you.
And Krish Pillay, good to see you, who is, I will say, all the way from Germany. So we are truly international.
Fabulous.
Oh,
fabulous.
We've had a reply from Regan. It's 2:10 a.m.
Wow. That's
already Saturday for Regan. Is it right?
Yeah.
You are it would be ahead. So yeah, it's already 2 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you drinking Coke Light, Nick?
Caffeine free.
Well, I just got as far as 0 sugar.
Just as good.
Yeah. Oh, hello, AD. And it's hen. Don't mind it. It's not showing.
If you go to that link down at the bottom of the screen.
This one here.
This one here. I'm waving the mouse at it. I don't know why, because you can't see. But yeah, streamyard.com/Facebook. Ruth did it and it worked apparently. That's from the other week. Then it will show your name. But hi hen. Oh hello. He's early this week.
He's here. Yes.
Oh. Regan starts work at 9. Oh.
Ooh. Regan. Wow.
Absolutely.
Daniel's suggestion for you there, Nick.
Oh, I would love to, but it's been about 4 years since I drank JD. 4 years.
Yeah. I thought hen didn't sound right.
Yeah. It doesn't show the picture either, Jen, unfortunately. It doesn't put your profile picture up or your name. It's just that little grey face. So I wouldn't have guessed from the picture either, darling. No. She's got a lovely picture, actually. We made it in circle. We made it in circle using artificial intelligence. So that might be something people pick up on. Chrissy's here.
Hi, Chrissy. And Daniel's driving, so listening in.
Absolutely. And Chris agrees about the Jack Daniels.
Yeah. I did like a drop of Jack myself.
Careful now. It's going to be one of those days. No, Jen. It doesn't.
No, it's still not worked.
Facebook.com/StreamYard and allow permissions. It will work. I promise. I promise. Mother's on the toffee vodka. Well, not on the toffee vodka. She has told me that the people who make her favourite brand of it are in Ely for the next couple of weeks. So I think she might be having some for Christmas. But don't tell her, it's a surprise.
Okay.
And it is fantastic, Regan. It's been a while. Regan is, we first met on a Monday morning when she was showing us around her house, treasure hunting with channeling. So that was that. I'm sure Regan remembers that. But yeah, it's good to see you again. And in answer to your question, it's vodka with toffee flavouring. And she loves it. You can make your own by crunching up like Werther's original and dissolving it in the vodka. Oh dear, we've missed it. They've gone 2 days. Yeah, we were looking for the walking stick. There was a walking stick missing, and we was trying to use. And
made it peeling studs. Bonjour, chérie.
Bonjour, mon petit femme. Seems like forever since I last saw you, Sherry. It was an hour ago.
Healing to you, Chrissy.
Bless you, absolutely.
Yes.
And of course, hello to everyone who has been shy and not watching. And I will say, it is quite likely, and anyone who knows, I know Trace and Jen are on. Trace and Cherry are on. Anyone who knows Jen will know that she's probably swearing at the computer right now because it won't show a picture and a name. I was going to say a picture and a face. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
But there we go. So welcome one and all. Do get your questions rolling in. Steer the conversation. We do very much bounce off what everyone has to say. Patience is a virtue. There she is.
Well done.
Indeed. Well done, doll. Fight the good fight, eh? Fight the good fight. And so, yes, welcome one and all. Whether you have fought with Facebook and got your name and face back on the screen, whether you've paid $86 to replace a license that was found only a few days later, whether you've got the man flu, we are with you. And you are all most welcome.
Or even if you've been doing the silent minute that a certain reverend next to me has been doing for the last few nights, and staying quiet for a whole moment.
Yes. Believe it or not, Chrissy, and I do take it in the spirit that it was intended, because everybody knows what a gobshite I am. And I am. I'm gobby. You know, my dad used to say that there weren't any donkeys with just one pair of legs in Littleport, because I didn't just talk them off the hind legs, I talked them off the front legs as well. And I do it. I really do. But when it comes to something like that, of course, I do take it very seriously, and it's not difficult, especially when you're the only one in the room and no one else is talking back to you. Even I don't have a conversation with myself very often. No. Is when I reply, thank you, Mother. He sings in his sleep as well.
Oh.
I haven't done that in nearly 30 odd years. What she's referring to is that I used to get through the entire 6 verses of Old MacDonald Had a Farm in my sleep when I was a kid. It's good to talk, Nick, but it's the shutting up I struggle with. You and me both, love. You and me both. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I truly am, Chrissy. Regan says 2023 has definitely been a very interesting year, and I think for many we can say only a month left, but we survived. Yeah. Do you know what? I got to say though, don't we always say that every year?
We do.
And I think that's an important to acknowledge that you haven't just got through this year, you've got through every year before it as well. And I don't think people give themselves enough credit for their successes.
No, they don't. It is important to acknowledge that you did it. You survived it. We got through it, and we are here. We are here in 2023, which is an amazing feat in itself.
And in about 7 weeks, we'll be in 2024. Where is it all gone?
I don't know. My mum always told me when you get to 30, your life just disappears. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Mum. Yeah, that's because you're old. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, several years later, I'm thinking, didn't we just celebrate Christmas about 2 weeks ago?
Gonna say, passing 30. That's a ship that sailed for both of us a long time ago.
Just a bit.
I mean, only about 5 or 6 years for you, darling, but it's like 15 years for me.
Thank you.
And we are joined by Alison Rothery.
Hello.
What a lovely name.
Isn't it?
And what a lovely spelling of Alison too.
It's
I don't think very. I think I should be NYK for Nick. What do you think?
Yeah.
Reinvent myself in 2024.
Yeah. Why not? See, Chrissy's just put man flu is worse than COVID. Are you feeling any better, Tony? I'm still a bit croaky and yet, but you're right. Man flu is horrible. It is really bad.
It is absolutely. It always puts the other half in check. I tell you, always.
Yeah.
Now,
and go on.
No, you
as well.
AD has just commented. I felt it last night. Wow, silent minute is worth doing. Please give the world 5 minutes of your time. So for those that don't know, last week I discussed how I was doing a trance circle, a one-to-one with Chériane, en français, mademoiselle, who's originally from down south here, and is now down south but in a different direction. Cherry's guides suggested this silent minute, and ever since last Friday night it's been doing it. Now the first couple of attempts were good but didn't go so well because it was a minute before and a minute after, and it really was too quick. So because StreamYard can do 5 minute increments, I start it 5 minutes before 9:30. And then it rolls on an extra minute, so it's a 6 minute video, but it gives you that 5 minutes to come together, say hello, chat with each other, have a convo, mention names for healing if you want names mentioned, and it's just stunning the amount of usage that has been made of it is wonderful. So thank you everyone. But I've got to say, last night was special for me as well, because obviously we had the service on Thursday nights, and I'd got it preset to play automatically whilst we were shutting everything down and putting the chairs and tables away and everything. And I put my phone on, put it on the table, and the music started playing. So I said, there's so and so left. And although some people, because the service ended at 9, and some people start going because they've got things to do in the morning, and I get that, and that's fine. But some people stay for tea and coffee. And at 9:30, there were 14 of us left in the hall. And I said, you've got a minute if you want to do the silent minute. And then I counted down 5 to 1. And when I hit 1, everyone just fell silent. And everyone that remained in the hall joined in that moment. And it was beautiful. It was stunning. And you could just feel it. You really, really could. You can feel it when you do it together online. But when there's a group of you doing it as well as everyone online in the hall, it was gorgeous. So thank you to everyone who was staying behind and joined in last night. It's there every night for people who want to use it. I'm not expecting everyone to stop what they're doing at 9:30 every night, but if you can do it a couple of times a week, coming together, look what a difference it can make. This time last week, we were talking about how there needs to be a shift in attitudes, in people, in power. And things happened over the weekend.
Oh, yes.
I thought you'd like that one. And of course, it is again a web that spreads around the world. Evelyn was there. Sherry Ann has been there. Sherry Ann is kind of like the earthbound author of it. I just did the handiwork. But her guides in spirit suggested it, and I got on with it, and it's just been amazing. So thank you, everyone. We've had some extra people join in.
Good afternoon, Neil. And Daniel's significant other.
Yes, Jane is listening with Daniel Carlton. We've got to behave ourselves now.
Yes.
And Joanne!
Hello, Joanne.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It really is. Welcome. Neil says, love doing the candlelight service at Christmas with Karen Wood. It's such a special service. Do you know, there is something about candles, isn't there, Tony?
Yeah, there is. I used to love the candlelit service at Christmas when I would go up north. Yeah. We would all go down to church. It was lovely. Yeah. Really special.
We have a healing table in church now, and I've got this metal dish with sand in where people can take the tea light candles and light them for someone. I think we will probably make a bit of a bigger thing of it at Christmas, because I was sorting out some of Dad's stuff and I found a box of Uncle Tom's. It's about two shoe boxes size. It's stuffed full of candles.
Wow!
Somebody trying to tell me something.
Mm-hmm.
It is that feeling of light, and it's interesting actually. Based on that, humour me if you would for a moment. Whenever I go away on holiday, one of the things that I always aim to do is find a church or a cathedral or a temple or something. And I always invariably gravitate towards the place where you can light a healing candle. I've lit candles all across Europe, in the locations I've been on holiday with anyway. My favourite one is this tiny basically, if it was a modern building, it would be the lavatory. This tiny little room with a box in it on Mouse Island in Corfu, where we were staying quite close to the airport, and the airport is in a bay. And in that bay is Mouse Island. So it's like a 3-minute walk down to the airport and the harbour, and there's this tiny little island that you can walk across to. And Mouse Island, it's called. There's a little monastery on there, and it's a lovely place to light candles. The last place we went abroad to was Iceland, and there is this huge cathedral, and it's all cement. It's all concrete, and it looks it's a modern design. And I walked in, and I'll be honest with you, I felt really disappointed and flat. It didn't feel like a church, and I was quite concerned. And I looked over to one of the doors over by the altar, and there was this gentleman stood there in all his refinery, and he looked at me and smiled, and he could obviously see my face. And he looked at me and smiled, and he went, "Are you all right there?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I just feel like there's something missing." And he went, "Yes, I know what you mean." And I went, "Really?" He says, "Trust me, I've worked here a long time." I know what you mean. It feels like there's something missing. And he went, turn round and go over into that corner behind that pillar. And I turned round to look and I couldn't see anything. I turned back and I'd been talking to myself.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, must investigate. So I started walking. And as I moved to the side behind the pillar was this huge tree, metal tree, that held tea lights on for healing. And as I walked up to it, I felt that feeling that you get when you walk into a church. And it was the healing, it was the love, and it was the memory. So I find the lighting of candles for healing and remembrance and prayer so, so important. And that for me was proof of it. Yeah. And as I turned round, I linked in and said, whoever you are, thank you. And he just stood the other side of the, I just spiritually this time rather than literally, I saw him reflecting through the candles, and he just stood there and said, you will always find light even in the darkest corner. And with that, he sodded off. But it was such a really, even, you know what it's like. People assume that our life is full of really, really weird moments. It can be, but sometimes there are even weirder moments.
Yeah.
And for me, that was one of them. So yeah, I everywhere I go, I find somewhere. The Parthenon in Rome, that's got that feeling there, and all various different, not just big name places, little places, secluded places with lots and lots of memory and energy that you can latch on to. So I just thought I'd share that one. Because I think it underpins the purpose of what Neil's just said there. This year, I'm going to be a big thing for healing this year. We need more peace in the world than ever before. Absolutely. That's why Cherry's Guide suggested the silent minute, and that's why there's a candle on it as well, because I do. Krish looks for candles at churches. So does Joanne. Krish is there agreeing with Neil, as do I. Krish has just actually mentioned something. Yes, absolutely. All of our thoughts go out to everyone in Iceland because it is chaos. That there is only one main road really that runs around the entire island, and parts of that is closed off because it's been just smashed to pieces. So healing thoughts to everyone who's undergoing the force of nature, not the force of humanity, because they need just as many thoughts, but a separate thought, I feel. Neil says, I love going away and abroad. Oh my God, I must go into every church I come into contact with. Yeah, do it, because you feel the difference. You really, really do. And yes, you're absolutely right. Sad moments too. Sad moments too.
The vicar at the church I went to, he always said, the flame of a candle is like hands in prayer, which I've never thought about.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but
yes. Certainly is. Wow. Yes. And there's, just to emphasize that in actual fact, there's Christine's Amen, and there's the flame.
The praying hands, the flame, yes.
Flame.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do. It's really nice.
Gorgeous. That is gorgeous.
Yeah. What do you think about churches becoming living homes?
Living homes?
Asks your mum.
I don't know what that is.
No.
Oh, yes, I do. What do we think? Light bulb moment, something.
Okay.
So, what do people think about, and in particular yourself, good sir? What do you think about churches that are converted into homes to live in?
Oh,
The reason being, houses, just to confirm. The reason being that there was a chapel that Mum and Dad got married in, just on the outskirts of Liverpool. And that has now been converted into a home where someone can live. So what are your thoughts on that?
oh, I'm torn on that one because we've actually stayed in a converted chapel up in Carlisle, and it was absolutely beautiful. I mean, the energy in it was just stunning, and it was a really, really good holiday. But as Ruth has just said, if it's not used, if it's a building that is no longer being used as a church, i.e. the congregation have stopped coming or whatever, okay, I suppose it's a use for the building. If there's nothing else, it can be for the community that it can be turned into. But I do have this thing of it's a sacred place. People have been married there. People have been baptized there. People have had their funerals from there, and that should be honoured in some way. I think in the building. So my preference would be if it was a community space, that would be a nicer use for it. But if the community has no need for that building, then if somebody wants to preserve it in the form it is, because a lot of them, I believe, you can't change the exterior, you can only convert the interior. So as long as the exterior is preserved so that the memory is there, if like your mum and you go through the village and it's like, oh, there's that church where we got married, it looks familiar, then for me that's okay. But yeah, I agree with Jen. I wouldn't want them flattened because they are a lot of them are beautiful buildings, so I wouldn't want them. But people seem resistant to go to a physical church at the moment for some reason. I've noticed, I think spiritualism's one of the only few where congregations are staying stable and increasing. The rest of them seem to be really dwindling off, and it's sad. It's sad.
It really, really is.
Yeah. I thought what your mum was talking about was I saw some charities putting out something about due to the winter coming and the cost of living crisis and things, some places were opening, some community spaces were opening up to allow people to sleep, have a shower, warm meal. I thought that's what your mum was getting at.
So let me postulate and twist the question a little bit.
On, then.
What's the difference? That place is sacred. I agree. Those buildings are filled with energy and experience and moments of transition, transformation, and change. If we, as spiritualists, believe that all are welcome in the house of God, why not turn God's house into a home? Yes, the location should be honoured and noted, but I'm surprised Mum hasn't mentioned it. We have a relative when he was alive that actually bought an old chapel and turned it into a home, but he always was a bit of a lay preacher and always wanted his own church, and so he had his own church and he lived in his own church. So not only is there one side of it that these places are being repurposed so that they are preserved and looked after if they're dwindling use, but they're actually being used for shelter, for warmth, and a home. And I think finding a place where you can lay your hat and call it home is vital. But what I will also add, that a church is not in itself the bricks and mortar. whilst it will pick up that energy, it's the people that have been in there, like with the candles. It's the people that are within it that have made that feeling, have made that energy, have built that energy. So, I always remember that advert. I can't remember what it's for, but there is an advert where he used to say, "My body is a temple, that's why I leave the boots on the outside." We are our own temple, and we can network those temples together. And whilst it is an absolute shame that churches are dwindling and going empty, it's because people have decided not to go there. And we have to address the reasons why.
Yes.
We have to understand the reasons why. And if it is because everyone wants to stand outside and do it, brilliant, because everyone's doing it. And my granddad, bless his heart, he always used to say, God built the earth, so that's his house, so you can pray wherever you want. And that always stayed with me. But we should always put a little bit of acknowledgement into the energy that has been generated in that building, not just for reminiscence and remembrance, but also a reminder that it's us that does it. Yeah. We are the ones that put that purpose and that meaning to it. So long as it's done in a way that isn't disrespectful, I probably wouldn't feel too comfortable if it was turned into a paintball location, or to an extent, if it was turned into a club or a meeting place or something like that. It's still doing its job, it's still bringing people together, but I wouldn't like the idea of paintball splattering everywhere, because they hurt anyway. But I think it's really, really important to just recognise that it's the people that walk in the doors that make it that place. And so long as we are somewhere, that is still happening.
Yeah, we've always said, haven't we, that where two of you gather together in my name.
Yes.
So it isn't about building, it's about community. And that's what's important. And I think it was Joanne made a comment that her house isn't a church, but it's where she does a lot of her praying and So it's fine. It's fine.
Absolutely.
But
in actual fact, I've got a bit behind, so I'm just having a catch up.
Yeah. It's like I said, what's important is the community around the church, be it a wooden hut or be it a community hall or whatever. But it's Littleport's lovely. I do agree, Christine. Littleport is a lovely church, and a lot of spiritualist groups are. It's about the people there and where you come together in a common purpose. That's what's important, which is why things like the silent moment really do work. When you are sending out intention and thought and energy into the world focused on a positive, it can work wonders.
Yes.
The kingdom of God is within us. Absolutely, Krish. Absolutely. It's about and Evelyn tells her bishop as well. Yeah. They won't like that. Not all bishops are as understanding as us.
No. And you know what? Let's be honest. That's one of the reasons why the buildings are being emptied and converted into flats. Yes. Because it's the attitude. We in spiritualism, and certainly one of the biggest and most important things for me is recognizing that the church is its people. And so we listen, we accept, we learn, we grow, we evolve. I know it's something that's very close to your heart, Tony. And it really, really winds me up that bigger organizations do not recognize that it's the people that matter, not the bull, frankly.
Yeah. It's something Michael's postulated about quite a lot, about churches, about education, about nurses. And is a school's job to educate children or to employ teachers? You know, it's the chicken and egg thing, isn't it? It's which do you see as most important?
Yes.
And we will be here as long as you want us to keep coming on. We've done 40, we'll do 400 if we need to.
Yeah.
But the minute it starts to not work,
yes,
we won't flog a dead horse. We will think, right, this isn't working. Why isn't it working? What do we need to do? What do people want? And there we go. We will change. We will adapt. We won't just keep doing what we do, because you keep doing what you do, you get what you always got, which doesn't always work. So you used your credits to sort out a can of horses. Oh, bless. And Sherry Ann just wrote that Cow Spiritualist Church on the Isle of Wight, 3 people of the church built it, planted rose bushes in the garden for those that had passed, and the building's now flattened and turned into flats. That's sad. That's sad. But I also agree with Neil. There are a lot of churches around us at the moment, not just independents, SNU churches and Christian spiritualist churches and everything. They are struggling. 2 churches in Sheffield have merged, so there's only now 1 congregation. There's a church in Wath that's under an emergency committee because it's not working, and it's so sad. It's so sad. But again, I just wish people would think, why aren't people coming through the door? Why aren't we getting the numbers? Why isn't it working?
Yeah.
And that seems to be the missing link for me. That seems to be the missing link for me. It's they just think, oh, put a new committee in, that'll sort it. No.
Exactly. I agree with you. It's always it's always terrible when you see a church close, you know, regardless of any particular, you know, understanding or way of working. It is always awful to see a church close, because it is a place where people can come together, be together, you know, celebrate together, laugh together, cry together, weep together. And so when you lose that facility and function, it is awful. But again, just as with any way of life, we have to look at the reason why. And yeah, Jen's had to go. She's off out. But Jen said earlier, you know, the COVID effect, because it did open opportunities for people. But it's the opportunities for people that weren't going to churches, that have found churches. And, you know, this is, whilst in one way spiritualism is growing, in another way it is stagnating, because we are afraid of change, and we are afraid to, as I said a few weeks ago, and as you said a few weeks ago, we are afraid to be pioneers. Pioneers were pioneers because they did things differently. And we have to pioneer, in other words, steer the ship into new territory. And if you're going into new territory, you have to alter the way you're steering. And you have to recognize that we can't keep things the same forever. That is called stagnation, and stagnation means destruction. We have to consistently keep moving forward, building new bridges, building new ways of working, developing and growing. And if we don't, it will fail. regardless of the internet or buildings or what have you, because people are not stupid. They will see the truth. They will see through the clouds of, arrogance and ignorance. And if we steer the ship into new territory and recognize that if we divert the direction just slightly to the left, we might hit the land and be able to pick up a few more people rather than lose them.
True, absolutely true. And it's about new opportunities. It's about embracing new things and learning from new things. You may not want to absorb all of one thing. You might just want to take little bits from here and there.
Yeah.
But adapt to them and look at them and investigate them. And if things aren't for you, then fine, but at least give it a chance. Give things an opportunity. I do want to pick up on Neil. Neil said, think also much on the internet and it hasn't helped it being free. The internet has done a lot for churches, especially during COVID, because I've talked to people that online and done readings with people online and done services for churches when they were all online because churches couldn't open. And people started asking me once the restrictions and things started to lift, is there a church in my area? Because I found this so inspirational, I'd like to go. And if people have got comfortable on the internet and started watching things on the internet, again, like we've said before, why? Why are they finding that a more attractive proposition to going out and finding a church and becoming part of that physical community and congregation? Because I've got a lot of time for churches. I love going to physical churches. I love doing this sort of work as well. It makes no difference to me. But for some people, I know a few people actually who will pick up online stuff from like now till February, March, because they're afraid to go out in the dark. They're not comfortable. They don't see so well, so they can't get around so well during the dark nights. Plus, a lot of people don't feel safe going out in the dark. It's dark, it's scary. So they'll pick up stuff online, but then come spring, they'll go back to church. And the cost thing, a lot of my local churches do keep their prices really low because they know people can't afford it. And I know a lot of people who actually, if somebody comes in and says, how much is it? Oh no, I'll come back next week. And like, no, it doesn't matter. Whatever you've got in your pocket, that's fine. Come in, and it doesn't matter. You know, the church that Jean runs, and I know yourself, Nick, they will never turn anybody away. You know, if they're genuine,
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people do take the mick, but it's horses for courses, Neil. And while I get the thing about the internet, and the only thing I would say is, like all mediums, like all spiritualists, like all churches, some are good, some, but yeah,
it's again, it's about the people, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's about the people.
As Joanne said, some churches have rules that make people believe it's a dictatorship, and that's why they lose congregations. Regan's sentiment was in a similar vein, but also, Nick, a lot of the time they choose to see what they want to see, and ignorance is bliss in a lot of people's cases. I do totally agree. And then you get a comment like this: if it wasn't for you all, I would have wondered. And so, you know, it is about behaviors. It is about attitudes. Whilst to some people, I'm sure that there would be an element of the price. I do agree. There is, you know, I mean, Neil says there's a lot of mediums since the internet started with Zooms and circles. I do both. I've got a workshop in the village hall on Sunday. I'm making jacket potatoes for people. We're going to be there all afternoon. And this morning I was on with Cherry Ann doing her one-to-one. On Wednesday there was 4 of us there. On Monday there was another 4 there. So I do intermix it, and yeah, this is my job now. This is how I put food on the table and keep the roof over my head. And sometimes it's a struggle, but it's about being there for helping people and bringing people together and building communities, and that can balance on the internet and in the physical if the attitude is at least monitored. And you know what? There are times when the money is an issue. We very often say, "Oh, just go through. Here's a raffle ticket. Go on, don't tell anyone." And we'll do that to anyone in need, because we don't want to turn people away. And it's not about getting them in to get the money. It's about getting them in to have them feel comfortable and be a part of something. As Eunice says, inclusion, work together. Everyone that comes through that door is important to work together. And this is it, yes, whilst I might be a focal point at Littleport, I am not Littleport. There's the mother of the church, Mummy Brown, sits on the door. She's got Caroline and she's got Louise sit up the front there with her. You got Tony and Eunice, doing readings and doing the healing, and so many people now just get up and give healing. But every single person who walks into that door is the most important person in that room, in that moment. And I always try and make sure I at least say hello to everybody, if not get a hug, before and after the service, if they're up for a hug. I'm a huggy person, you know that now through, no fault of your own. I am a huggy person, but there is, as much as the online thing is important, there is no substitute for that physical contact with other people.
No.
But if you don't get it, then this is the next best thing. We've been doing online at Littleport for years before COVID. Don't get me wrong, when we first started, Dad made me a little chunk of wood that fit my phone, and I'd prop the phone there and it would be slightly leaned back, and everyone would always complain that they could see me up my nose. But we would broadcast at least half of the service as long as my data would last out, because our medium secretary of the time, Wendy, who Mum took over from, she was housebound. She wouldn't have been able to have been part of the church if it wasn't for that. Cherry, who lives in France, she's very isolated spiritually there. We wouldn't have met if it hadn't been for online, and we wouldn't be doing the Silent Minute, coincidentally, if we hadn't have met online. We brought people together from all over the world in this moment, and we're all pretty much on the same page. You've got Evelyn all the way over in America. Krish has just said, there's only 2 spiritual churches in Durban. The rest are really quite conservative. Krish wouldn't have that contact if it wasn't for the online. So, if we balance the two, it can be all right, but it's how we balance the two that matters. And I think it's vital to recognise that for those that can't, it's a great alternative. Neil just said, I love it how your mum supports you, Nick. Amazing, especially on Monday mornings. Mum comes with me to demos, because it gets her out of the house. She is, she's quite a known quantity in Littleport Church, it must be said, because she's part of the family in more ways than one. And everybody who walks in that room should be made to feel like family. That doesn't matter whether that room is physical or virtual. Whether the room is physical or virtual, you are family. We are family. And that's the only way to make a difference in the world. And until organisations, groups, churches, everything start doing that, the decline will continue.
It will. It will. And you're absolutely right that it's about building community, which is incredible. And I was just hovering over that because I was going to ask you to star it, but that is across the board. That's not unique to spiritualism. That, again, it's about the human element, which is where things tend to go a bit tea in the custard, because it's fine while ever you are looking at faith purely from the God, divine, whatever. It's when you introduce the human element that things start to go a little bit wonky, and I think that's the distinction you've got to make. It's not the church that's the issue. It's the people that are the issue. And once people feel threatened or undermined, they get defensive and start shutting down. So, yes. and I sort of disagree with that a little bit, because we don't get talked to, we get talked with.
I think that's what she means, because the whole point is we don't preach, we talk.
No, we talk, we discuss, we debate. Yeah. So it's about having a conversation, and that's the bit I think that goes back to what Regan said about it's the people. So if you have that conversation and you find out what people want, then that's what's important. That's what's important.
Yeah. I love this. Ada's just said from YouTube, I feel part of a limitless family when visiting groups, churches, and online, and feel able to be part of people's healing and well-being. I will just say, Ada, I've just taken a screen grab of the candle. If you are happy for me to share it, I'd like to share it to everyone. Just explain what it was that we were talking about. But yeah, I mean, Eunice very often explains that in workshops, you know, when we do a workshop, people aren't preached at. It is a conversation, and that's really important, because people don't want to be preached. You know, it is about, you know, unity and connectiveness, and that word you use, conversation.
Absolutely. It's not about. I think the days of the hellfire and brimstone brand of faith has gone, because nothing of any faith that I've looked at says, if you don't do what I say, you will be beaten with a big stick. It's more like you said, it's a conversation. It's, well, why do you think that? Why do you want to do that? You know, come on. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? That's what we want. And yeah. And yeah, Eddie said share, of course.
So I will just share, right, just to, and this is about how we, and I've got to say the conversation about, if I just jump in a second before I go on to that. I've lost it now. Well, there's no change there. Evelyn says, that's why I don't say brother from another father, because of my father preached it horribly, Mormonism. There's a lady who is a former Mormon on Thursdays and at the workshop, and additionally there's somebody coming to the workshop on Sunday new who said, you know, they saw me working at their local church, and would like to come to the workshop, giving churches another chance, because the last church they went to was Mormons. I don't have a lot of experience or knowledge of Mormonism, so I wouldn't comment. However, this is something that I hear an awful lot, is all I will say. But this candle thing. So what we've been doing in circles this week is using artificial intelligence image generators to create turn words. You know the old saying, Tony, a picture tells 1,000 words.
Yes. I've heard that
Well,
one.
we're taking a sentence to create a picture to create 1,000 words. So there's been some really, really joyous stuff, but I've just uploaded this image that Adi mentioned earlier. He felt inspired when we were talking about the healing and the candles. He has created one that he's just posted, and this is it.
Oh, beautiful.
And you just literally tell the software what you want it to create, and it will use its own algorithms and programming and learned experience to generate an image based on what's been said. And look at that gorgeous piece of work there. And that's, you can create beauty in just a few minutes.
That's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
The love's coming in. The love's coming in.
It is.
Oh, bless you, Neil. I would love you to join us. I don't actually know where you're based, but if you're anywhere near Littleport, 1 second Sunday of the month, come and say hello. But yeah, Krish, beautiful. Neil, beautiful. Sue, beautiful candle. Evelyn, love and light. It's funny that even those who aren't believers in the spirit world, mediums, psychics, and afterlife will still usually stop and hear someone out. But as soon as a person speaks religion and God to a non-religious person, it gets cut down. Yeah. But once again, it's people. It's people.
It is. It is.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, Neil's in Brighton. Of course you are. You did say the other day. Well, it's not too far on the grand scheme of things, but I get what you mean.
But no, that is a stunning candle. That is gorgeous.
It is. Well done, Adi. Well done. There you go. Oh God, beautiful. Has wonderful energy. Beautiful lady. Yeah. I will draw down instructions for everyone for the workshop, but we won't go too much into it because it will distract from what the theme of the workshop is. But using modern technology to create beauty is the theme.
Yes.
You know, it's just wonderful. So, you know, Ada's really taken it. They all have, actually. You know, both circles, everyone in those circles, they've just gone absolutely nuts with it, and it's creating beauty and joy and warm feelings for people, and that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It goes well with Tony's colours and new accessory, Tony. It could be. Yes, that candle would look lovely. Just sat on the desk here in front of me.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna pick that up. It's a candle for me it's a way of casting light out into the shadows, and I think, and it's also a nice focus. So if you want a moment's meditation, just watching the flame of a candle dance can really focus your mind and center you onto something.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we did an online workshop a couple of months back now, called The Way of the Candle, using the candle to generate and simulate and inspire all 12 of the spirit senses. And it worked really wonderfully well for a lot of people. So I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Now, good point, Joanne. Those cards SPTV have produced are amazing graphics, and it's done with artificial intelligence also. For those who don't know, I'm going to do a bit of a shameless plug, because those that have actually pre-ordered a deck would love some. But there is a required minimum amount. Richard has used artificial intelligence to generate an entire deck of oracle cards, and they're all angels, and they are absolutely gorgeous. You used some. Did you? You used some on Monday, didn't you?
We did.
Because we often do
cards.
The depth and just look beyond the obvious and look beyond the actual angel. There's such a depth of information in the background as well. £25 for a unique deck. There's 78 cards, I believe. There's the major arcana, the minor arcana, and then there's life. So love, passion, shopping, all sorts. And I really, really want my deck because Mum bought me a pack for my birthday. But if we don't hit the sales target, they ain't going to get it. So get over to SPTV after the show, obviously. Get over to SPTV and order yourself a pack. Order yourself some for Christmas presents if you want. And if you run a church, why not order a pack to go into the church library to use for workshops and that sort of thing? Because, and once again, it's about using what's available in this modern way of working to create something beautiful.
Absolutely. And they are gorgeous. I wouldn't discount posting out Regan. Regan said she would love them, but don't think they'd be sent as too expensive.
Actually, check with Richard because I'm pretty sure he did say there's something that he was planning. Or he'd made some. I'm pretty sure he said something about an arrangement. I will check with Richard and watch on Monday. We'll do a bit of a review. But I will check with Richard and get back to you on that one. But I'm sure he said something about, because he knows that there are a lot of people from down under who watch on Monday and throughout the week on SPTV, not just Monday. But yeah, I mean, when we create and when we enjoy and have that feeling of connection with something, it makes us feel. And that, I suppose, brings us back round to the whole, if you include the art and the generation, and then come back round to what's the purpose of a church. It's that feeling. Yep. It's all about that feeling. So there we are.
Yes. And to be honest, it's this feeling.
I've got to be honest. When I switched the computer on, I weren't feeling it. I've had about 2 or 3 hours sleep last night. I was unsure of myself, not really sure where we were going to go, what we were going to talk about. We never are. But in that moment, you just don't feel it. It's like, well,
do we have to?
40 is not going to be very memorable because I just feel absolutely pants. And then when everyone starts talking and chatting and interacting with each other, not just us, and when you see that compassion and the emotional attachment to what's being said and those true, genuine convictions about compassion and unity and love, you can't help but be taken over by that spirit. And I always end feeling much better than I start.
Like every spiritual encounter, you should never leave a spiritual encounter feeling worse than you did when you started.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you do, there's something wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we just need to be loving, compassionate, and loving to each other. Amen.
Amen to that.
Yeah, you tell him, Tony. Yeah, it is exactly how everything. Energy efficiency. I love it.
That's brilliant. I love that, Evelyn. I love that.
So yeah, we will confirm with Richard about the cards. I'll let you know.
Yes.
Because there's a not certainty, so I will drop him a message afterwards and then post. Where will I post it, I wonder? Well, how's about right here on facebook.com/groups/Two Revs, because lo and behold, we've got our own group page where we can chat and continue the debate. If you'd like a t-shirt with our mugs on it, you can buy one because people wanted them and people have been buying them and it's amazing. SuffolkInsigniaDirect.co.uk/spirit-line. You can get yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie and all that sort of thing. And I've got to say, the other Tony is working on something special, which I'm not going to mention yet, but
Really?
something else is coming.
Yeah, you could have that on a T-shirt. You could have that there on a T-shirt.
Yeah, and there's going to be something else too. So exciting times.
Wow.
Who'd have thunk 40 episodes and branding? You've mugged my soul. Oh, bless you.
Oh, somebody's on fire today.
Boom. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the beautiful energy of all your viewers. It really, really is that makes a difference.
Yeah.
But of course, it's approaching 5:15, and it is that time of day. Thank you to everyone who has joined in, commented, led the conversation, been a part of it. Maybe next week. You'll have to tune in for episode 41 to make sure that I just want to have that final conversation with him, because he's working on it. Tony is an amazing guy. This is Eunice's Tony. He's amazing and come up with some really, really cool stuff for us. And of course, one thing that I did do is you can get a little pin badge with our mugs on them. But yes, if you want a T-shirt, again, that's Suffolk insignia. But there is something else coming too. So next week.
Ooh.
And oh, she's late, but she is here, and that's what matters. Hello, Kazza, darling.
Yeah.
I even did a bar for you, so you'll have to watch that on the tablet. Ah, there we go. Tony says, in time for Christmas. In time for Christmas. So you'll have to wait and see that one, because I'd like to not tell you. I'd like to show you. Is the honest truth. So, so stay tuned for that one. But thank you to everyone. It's been amazing seeing you all. Thank you for perking me up. And again, my good friend Tony, thank you so much for sharing. Oh, now we know why. She's off to hang on. She's off to see Pink in Glasgow.
Would love that. I would love that. I love Pink.
Absolutely. But yeah, you're right, Evelyn. A great gift. Yes. So not long now, and I will have a word with Tony, and we can the other Tony, and we can do a show and tell. Exciting. But thank you, Tony, for a wonderful afternoon, mate. It's always appreciated.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. And yes, it's been lovely to spend time with you. And a whole hour this time, not just a little bit at the beginning.
A little bit, yeah, absolutely. So, thank you all. God bless you all. And so, for tonight and for episode 40, it's good night from him.
And it's good night from him. And we'll see you around 9:30.
We will see you for the silent minute at indeed 9:30. See you all soon. God bless, and may the peace.
God bless everybody.
Be with you all.